talking about the social part, right? Because we talk about the value that we are bringing to the prime contractors, but we are also helping the small businesses to gain business acumen and how we can help them also improve their operations, right? Because most of these subcontractors are very good at what they do, but a lot of them are not interested in doing paperwork, what they call paperwork, right? Which to me is like the business side of it. And so we are also creating a consulting part that we will help these small businesses to grow and to get more business acumen. And at the same time, the consulting would go to the prime contractors because they want us to understand them better so we can be a better bridge.
I think the fear of failure holds so many young people back that they're not really willing to take risks. But entrepreneurship is all about risk taking. And, it's all about learning from failure. And as we say in entrepreneurship, fail fast and fall forward. And in Build, because of the support we give young people with their peers, like being able to sell with their friends, having their mentors standing right there with them, and the Build staff and our teachers, they're surrounded by adults who love them. In fact, our students usually say Build is like a family, and that's what they love so much about Build. But we're there to help them learn from that process and to grow from it so that they learn that risk taking is part of life. That any failure is just a learning opportunity. I can keep moving forward from it. Right. And those failures don't define them. They just see them as part of the journey.
We built Squeeze with our franchise partners in mind. So everything that we did, we were testing and learning to ensure that they would be able to replicate, if not, exceed our success. There's so much that goes into customer acquisition, and each channel has a different cost, a different return. We certainly try from just a straight digital advertising standpoint to ensure 3 times return on ad spend. We try and ensure that with everything that we're spending, the ROI is there from the first visit for the guest. One thing that I would stress from an acquisition standpoint, first and foremost, your best marketing channel is always going to be word of mouth. And so what that ultimately means is you need to create an experience that people fall in love with immediately. It pulls on the heartstrings. There's emotion behind everything that you're doing. People recognize the thoughtfulness in what you're creating. It's going to make them immediately a loyal customer, and then also, create an experience where they can't help but tell their friends.
Remember that you are not your work, which is very difficult for a writer. Because I definitely used to be the kind of person who would say, writing isn't just what I do, it's who I am, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of artists say that. Yeah. But that's a dangerous thing to say, which I have learned as I've gotten older. Because when we attach our identity to our work, it can be very stifling. It can, when someone does criticize our work, we take it to mean that we're a terrible person. It can even stop us from creating in the first place because we feel like, it has to be perfect in order for me to put this out there. And it's never going to be perfect. So you're never going to put anything out there if you're waiting for perfection.
Very often people think that the basic plan is going to be good, where it's most likely going to be very bad. At least in our case, it was particularly bad. And so we technically started in August or something like that, maybe August, September 2018. But the current business model that we have, where we actually found product market fit and traction, etc., we didn't start that until Q1 of 2021, actually. So between 2018 and 2021, we're just kind of running around figuring stuff out, to be honest. And so but it feels like, looking back now, it feels like, okay, we had to go through all that crazy stuff to kind of stumble on the actual business idea that made sense, and we couldn't have executed on it if we didn't already had all those extra things that we kind of wasted time doing beforehand. So kind of luck on top of luck.
We really see venture capital as an industry as collaborative over competitive. Because you're not going to get from pre-seed to IPO with one VC, usually, unless your birth name was Andreessen. It's not going to happen. VCs have to work together to make sure that we are growing healthy companies. And so we don't really see ourselves as pitting against other VCs on the cap table. We see ourselves as complementing other VCs on the cap table. And one of the ways that is most complementary is that we look more like the founders. And the people who are in our capital stack look more like the founders. And you need that in your capital stack if you want to have a voice to it.